And we are live. Hi, friends.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Sorry, I gotta view the site. I'm not prepared for class today. So we've had a slow news week.
Yeah.
So slow.
We thought we'd talk about some things and have a special stream because yeah, I feel a lot better. I didn't expect that, but
Welcome to the ladies' room.
yep.
Yeah.
We're so stoked to talk about the big changes that happened this week.
Yeah. Crazy.
So I was ready for a female president 8 years ago. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah. Of course.
if we had to go through hell to get here, I'll take it. I don't like it, but I'll take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think we were ready to elect a female president, just not that female. You know, I mean,
She was problematic with her
Here's
ties
the
to
thing.
the establishment.
yeah.
I think also we didn't realize how nefarious the media was and how
Yeah.
owned they are
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
by a
And
lot of foreign
libraries.
entities, actually. And we lost another publication this week. She had a lot stacked against her, and we didn't have enough people paying attention last time, and I really feel like it's different this time. I mean, you guys out there in the chat, do you feel it? Feels a little bit different this time. It feels exciting and electric. It feels like when Obama was, had his first campaign.
Oh, the
Yeah,
energy
yeah.
during her speech and after was just
Yeah.
amazing.
It was. I was so stoked. I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
And I feel like she
Goosebumps.
can like beat back. For the first time, even when Hillary was running, I didn't feel like she was beating back Trump. She was just locking the shitty lock on the bathroom door type thing. Like, I think we didn't pay attention at the time for all the signs of this happening. I know I didn't realize how deeply fractured the country. I always knew we were fractured. We're always fractured. You know, we're 30. How many people are in the U.S.? 350 million. Of course, we're going to be fractured somewhere. I didn't realize how truly deep that went, and Hillary just wasn't the candidate to try to fulfill that. You know,
Well,
Yeah,
I think we didn't know what we were getting into with Trump either. We didn't know how bad it could be. We knew it was going to be bad, but we didn't know how bad. And there was the division, the Bernie crew, and then the anybody but Hillary crew, and then the Hillary crew. And so we had that division already within us that allowed him to sneak in. And so
I
hopefully
imagine
now knowing what we're up against will help us unite.
I
Yeah.
imagine some of it had to be the Russian influence as well that kept us divided in that moment in time.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. All the propaganda being
I
pumped
know.
Yeah,
in.
that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying things were so stacked and, against her in that moment. And now that we understand that they do not want democracy to last here in America. They want the American experiment over because it means that the power of the people can be used to maybe mitigate some of the power and influence of these wealthy assholes who would see this world burn rather than children get lunch at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I teach, I'm sure most of you know, I teach a course about fake news, and I always show this one movie. It's from, I want to say like 2018-ish. It's The Great Hack on Netflix. If you want to, like, I had no idea how deep the Russian thing went and how manipulative it went and how messed up Facebook is until I saw that movie. And I show it to my students, um, and like I make them watch it because they don't realize how their social media knows about. It's not like the social media doesn't care about the mighty librarian as a person. They care about the mighty librarian as a white middle-aged female in Southwest Georgia. That's what they care about. And they don't realize how truly like they can be influenced I had no idea we could be influenced that much. Like I thought we were smarter than that, and you know what? We're not. Like we're susceptible
Mm.
to it, and and I don't think we were prepared for that level of a um, of a what do you call it? Information warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
We're more prepared this time too because we know how they used it nefariously in the past, and now we're starting to use it to our advantage as well. I think we were playing a little too nice back then too.
Oh yeah,
well, we were trying to live our principles. We were
Mhm.
trying to show everybody that we were the party of compassion, the big tent,
Oh
the
yeah.
welcome in. We can compromise. We can find solutions. But the thing is, that side left civility and reason, logic, and wanting to have a conversation in good faith to try to find a solution. They knocked it over, kicked the shit out of it, burned it down, and pissed on it like 10 years ago with Trump, and they've been doing it ever since. They don't understand or respond to logic or reason or compassion or debate or anything like that anymore. Nothing punches through. But when you mock their ideas because their ideas are worthy of ridicule and should be mocked because they're cruel and terrible and full of hate, that breaks through because that hits them right at their ego, which is the only thing that gets the little gears turning, that makes the thoughts go and put A plus B and gets them to C, which they haven't been able to get to for 10 years or 9 years since Trump came down that golden fucking escalator or elevator, whatever, and told them, how to think, how to feel. And as long as they follow him, they can be their worst fucking selves. They can be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, because he condones it. So of course they champion him.
Well, and when they say I like him because he tells it like it is, what they mean is he says the horrible things that I wish I could say out loud.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And that's not the flex you think it is, bro.
it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. It's not.
It's just
No.
not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I think
all
that's
he
part of why
did was stoke up the hate.
absolutely he allowed them to be their worst selves.
Hate. That's all he ever spews. Hate and this, for how many crapping years?
Hmm. I
I'm
think
tired.
that's why
I'm
it had to
tired
be.
of the hate, man. I'm tired. We're all tired of the hate.
We are tired. I
We're
think that's
supposed
why
to
it
be the
had to be
United
Joe
States of
Biden in
America.
2020. Yeah, it had to be Joe in 2020 because he had such a history and was so well respected in Washington as a statesman and as
Absolutely.
someone who could work and get nonpartisan bills and bipartisan support and stuff like that. I mean, even Mitch the Glitch can't help but say, you know what, I do respect the dude, right? And he has nothing nice to say for anybody. So
Oh,
it had to be him then. But we're beyond that. The Project 2025 stuff, all the legal shit that Trump's gotten involved in, the gloves are off. It's not. We can't play nice anymore. There's too much on the table. We tried
I had
playing
too
nice and he
much.
blocked everything.
I had too much. I don't know what the word is, but going up until Jan 6th, I thought surely cooler heads would prevail. Surely this like there's got to be a bottom before. And I was naive. That was very naive. Looking in hindsight, I was like, why did I think that? But at the time, I was just like, there's no way that they're gonna not certify the election. Come on. And like, so in 2016, I still had that mindset, kind of like almost Michelle Obama-esque, and I don't think she ever meant like as fluffy as some people make it out to be, but at the time it was good enough, and it was more powerful to be the better person,
Mm-hmm.
or not necessarily, because I don't think we're bad people for fighting back and striking back,
No.
but to take the high road, I guess, and not mock them and try to facts and figures it and show them that they're like, and it just like I didn't realize um how good that feeling was. It was like a drug to them to be able to be their worst versions of themselves, how good that feels to some. And yeah, like
Yeah, it's now, and now we've gone, and a lot of us right now don't have rights already, to our bodies. you know, it's bingo time. You know, like, sorry, you do not, people, women of the rest of the country, you don't want this. Or
You
worse,
know,
and worse, and worse. Nobody, for gay people, anybody, you don't want that.
you know,
Well, and I don't think there's anyone who can read the highlights of Project 2025 and not be like, hold on a second, that affects somebody I care
Yeah,
about. And if they
absolutely.
can, they're horrible people and they need to really think about themselves a little. Some
or they
self-reflection.
don't even think that, like, they don't, a lot of MAGA doesn't have that critical thinking component. Like, they see so they're so short-sighted that they say, like, they read, a summary of Project 25 and says, oh yeah, finally trans is going to be banned and oh this and that, and they get excited, yeah, but then they don't see the part that, like,
Your money won't be insured anymore.
you'll get fired if your money isn't insured anymore, or your daughter who's a teacher gets fired because she had the wrong book in the wrong place in her classroom, and like they don't think about, like, how they always come for you in some way. And like, Rick Wilson made a really good point to the media. Went on this rant, and he was basically like, to the media, to Trump sycophants, he will come for you. Like, if you keep down this road, you will piss him off at some point. There will be something that is a bridge too far for you, and you're going to be next in the firing squad, because that's
Yeah.
how it goes. And
He's already shown that. Look at how many people he fired. And like, that's not a badge of honor. That means you didn't put the right people in the right place to begin with, which is on you, or they didn't agree with you and so you got rid of them. Also not a good sign. So it's not, he was like, well, Joe, you haven't fired anybody. Yeah, because I put the right people in there the first time. That's not a bad thing, dude.
yeah,
If he's
and
gonna
nobody
fire
resigned. I'm
yeah, if
sure
he's
people
gonna
have
fire the
resigned, but
people right, but if he's going to fire the people that he put them in that position and said they were the best person for it, then what do you think he's going to do to you, little nobody that he's never met before? He's not going to care. You can't
he's
do
gonna
anything for
care.
him.
Yeah, what do you, and let's say your daughter, who, is a liberal, but you still love her, you're not that far gone, and she's arrested for, having a book in her classroom that isn't approved, or about, Rosa Parks or whatever. Like, what do you think he's going to do for you? You honestly think that you can go to the White House or call him and be like, Trump, I've supported you for like a bazillion years, like, and you arrested my daughter? Like, he doesn't care. Like,
Don't give
nobody,
a shit.
and they think he cares about them. Like, and it's just,
Even when he routinely refers to them as garbage and trash and all these other derogatory terms, like he wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. Like, he does not care. He would never lower himself to engaging with them if he didn't have to.
Here's the thing, like this. Sorry, I'm crying for unrelated reasons, which we can talk about later if we want to. It's related, kind of. No, it's not. Anyway, sorry. Well, let's just talk about it now, because I've forgotten the other thing and it's all I can think about. Hi, all the veterans out there. I was in the Army, 68 Echo X2, preventive dentistry specialist. I have degenerative disc disease. I have osteoarthritis. I have peripheral neuropathy in my lower body. I'm also starting to have symptoms in my face, and I have symptoms in my hands. And I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder. In 2016, I had a neurostimulation implant placed, and they said it would be good for about 10 years. And I thought I would get longer, but I just got its blue screen of death. So I have to wait for the VA to schedule me for surgery to get it replaced. If we fail in November and Project 2025 gets enacted, they're not going to cover me anymore. I wasn't actually like physically injured, acutely in combat. This was a wear and tear thing, and they're going to scale back who gets care, meaning these small-minded people will be like, okay, if I can see something visibly missing on you, sure, we'll cover that. But the rest of you, you wake up with night terrors every goddamn night? Fuck you. And if you're, have nerve damage or brain damage, or you need help doing this or that, fuck you, I guess. They don't give a fuck about you. They think you're losers, and you're not. You love this country. I know you do. You raised your hand just like I did. And look around you. Everyone is getting together and they're rallying behind Kamala Harris. Get your friends. Go to your, your veterans of foreign wars. Go to your, support group meetings. Tell them how important this is. Tell them that the PACT Act will be fucking gone. Their Agent Orange that they're finally able to get treated, gone with Project 2025. This is life and death shit, kids.
Yeah.
The women already know it. We lost Roe. We don't own our fucking bodies anymore. Ask
Yeah.
so many women across this country. And veterans, they're coming for us too. They're coming for minorities. They're coming for everyone that isn't straight, male, rich, and white. And I'm going to finish crying. You guys go ahead. And Christian.
Oh,
well, okay, excuse me. Christian, because real Christians don't stand for this. And if you are a real Christian, you need to get with your brothers and your sisters, and you need to grab their asses and pull them back and give them a come to Jesus and tell them that they need to straighten up, because these are not the tenets of love. When you want to gather up your neighbors and ship them off to countries that they probably aren't from or have never seen, just because their skin is a little darker than pale ass glow in the dark white.
Yeah, it's awful.
They're not living the word. They're living Old Testament bullshit, and we're past that.
Yeah,
we're on
I'm
to
like,
forgive.
They're not even living Old Testament bullshit.
I'm like yeah, some of the shit. I'm just like, really?
I mean, that's why I love church. Like, I could be like it. It wasn't any one thing that somebody said to me, but I could feel and I could see the eyes roll harder and harder, and people would stop inviting me to things because I would say something like, and I wasn't necessarily aggressive, but I was definitely like, how I get loud and like, and
we're friends.
Yeah, like, and it just got to the point where I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am every Sunday am I getting up ass early, because I did a lot of their media and stuff. Why am I doing this when A, they don't like me? I know they don't. They pretend to, and I'm miserable here, and I don't agree with anybody, anything. So I was just like, I'm done. Like, that's it. And I know a lot of pastors that are like, they got run out of their churches because they wouldn't preach MAGA. It's a, like, they try a lot. There's a lot more Christians that like MAGA than don't. And it's hard to like convince them. So, I try to grab who I can, but at the end of the day, I'll have better luck. Have better luck with somebody who's like Republican, but not, like, this is a never Trumper,
I
really
think
sucks.
a lot of those Christians you're talking about, they like the idea of a Christian nation, but they don't realize the reality of what they're proposing. They're proposing their version of, and they're only using Christianity as a crutch to prop up the concept of a theocracy. What happens in it? That they're making a monarchy, and and when it doesn't work to their advantage, when one of them does something that they can't even justify from a religious standpoint, although how Trump is considered their golden boy, I can't begin to imagine. But when they can't, they'll just, they'll who is it? Key George or whoever, or I can't, my brain is dead. They'll just make a new religion. They'll just make a new Bible. They'll just reinterpret it. Like, they have no interest, because if they were actually cared about the words of the Bible, they would want to feed the poor, house the homeless, take care of the sick, Like those are the core tenets.
Yeah.
You take care of each other. They have no interest in doing that. They care only about division. And they're playing on that idea of those values and using it to divide people further.
And they say like Christian nation, okay? Which branch?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Which denomination? And then there's going to be a big fight about that.
And you
We
know,
have
the
hundreds
Heritage
of Christian
Foundation,
guys fighting about that shit.
Oh,
the Heritage Foundation is primarily Catholics, believe it or not. But obviously they have a strong tie with the Southern Baptists. So okay, let's say we become a Christian nation. Do you honestly think that the Southern Baptists are going to be okay with Catholicism and Catholicism is going to be okay? Because I grew up Catholic, so I know the Catholics too.
I mean, I grew up Methodist.
And
We didn't like.
there,
You
it
could
is
take
not going to
communion
go
if you
over
wanted to.
well. And there, it's going to be, yeah, we're the one true religion. No, we're the one true religion. No, we're the one true religion. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and then you start
You all
fighting
got to agree
over,
on which way is the best way to baptize. Because you're
and
going to
that's
hell
why,
if you don't get submerged, or because we sprinkle at my church. You know, it's a whole big thing. You know.
right?
I mean,
And
seriously,
like that's why we
think about it.
no. That's why the founding fathers said no, like separate religion, because it's
Because they
like,
saw how
you
it was
know,
used in Europe to hold people down and tear people apart, and they didn't want that.
like,
and forced faith isn't faith. Like
no,
that
it's
clip
No.
that Tony played today about that one dude who's like, we're gonna have to force them. Okay, great. You're gonna force people to believe what you want them to believe, okay?
Good luck.
Hey,
Force
that's not
them,
faith.
just like Jesus taught. Jesus
Yeah.
didn't say, you know, get over here, bitch. You're going to do what I say and I'm going to make you fucking do it or you're going to pay for it. No, he said, come follow me.
Pick
He
up
walked
and he
ahead,
even,
he showed the way, and if people decided his way was a good way, they would follow him. That's how it's supposed to work, Christians. Live a good life, be a good person, and if someone goes, hey, it looks like you have a, you know, some peace of mind over there and a loving family and some, you know, harmony and, you know, some comfort when times are hard, that looks pretty cool. Maybe I could have some of that in my life. That's how it's supposed to work, you know, with religion.
you know what it's supposed to be? A lot of people don't realize the story about the Samaritan woman, where Jesus goes to Samaria and finds a woman at the well, and she's an adulterer, and he forgives her and says, "Sin no more." And like what people forget about this story is what leads up to that. And um, Jesus and his apostles were on their way to back to Jerusalem. Now they could have got the shortcut was to go like around Samaria, and Samaritans were viewed as like the lowest of the low. Like Jews and they didn't talk to those people. So Jesus said, "We're going to go through Samaria," and his apostles are like, "What? No, what? Why would we do that?" And he's like, "No, we're going through Samaria," and his whole purpose was to meet that woman. If you know, I'm just giving the Bible story. Believe what you want, but what not all, what a lot of Christians don't realize is that Jesus went to the undesirables. He didn't try to kick them out. He met them where they were and said, "I love you anyway." So
That's who
where
he hung
these
out
guys,
with. He hung out with the sinners and the poor and the homeless and the
yeah,
prostitutes and the, you know.
like it just
What about the time he went and turned over the table of money in the synagogue and church? Because that was all,
Taxpayers,
you know,
yeah,
I
the
mean,
tax.
and look at it now. That's what people, I, I don't
Matthew was a tax collector, and at the time, tax collectors were considered like just like the most awful, no morals people.
yeah.
Like lawyers now.
What's
Sorry.
that?
Like
What's
lawyers
that?
now.
Yeah, similar. I guess depending on depending on what side they're on.
So one of the things I was hoping we would talk about tonight is the attacks they're going to make on Kamala and how we can address them, because we know what they're going to say. They can't do much with her record because Joe's policies are pretty much her policies as well, and they've been very successful. So what they're going to go after is that she's a woman, of course, which, yeah, so, and they're going to go after the fact that her parents were immigrants, which, yeah, so she was still born in the U.S. She still has citizenship and birthright and so forth. And they're going to go after her record as a prosecutor, which that was her job. So she enforced the laws of the state she was elected to. What's your beef? I thought you liked Law and Order. I thought that was what you were about. So they're not going to have a lot of things that we really have to counter that are very complicated because she doesn't have a lot of skeleton. I think the worst thing she has is she may have cheated on her husband, and like, please bring that up. Please bring up infidelity. I would love that. Like, you really have no room to talk.
I put in the chat a link to a video I made today, and I've told you all before that like I let YouTube often just autoplay, so random stuff will come. And this clip, I wasn't watching Fox News. Another podcaster played this clip with Jesse Waters, and he was making a different point. But when I heard this, like, it's just a minute, it's a short, it's a minute long, but like, it was she didn't earn it, she inherited it, and Americans love people who are self-made. I'm like, oh, really, self-made people.
Yeah.
Because,
Her daddy
and
didn't give
then,
her $1 million.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Trump was
well,
not self-made.
his father bankrolled most of his businesses, and bailed him out of the casino. Like he went there with like $50 million and bought chips and then didn't use them. So,
Yeah, just packed him up and took him in the car and off he fucked.
which is another way to evade loans and, just saying. But so yeah, so check it out. It's just it'll make your, and it's probably not the most offensive thing he said, but that's like the subtle, what's the word I'm looking for? The subtle, all women have gotten this like in their lives of just, you were handed this, you were just there, you were lucky, you were just like the only choice that they had. Like, any other time you wouldn't have gotten this like job, and so I just like needed to make a
Well, and
point that.
they can't go after her qualifications. She earned her degree. No one bought it for her. She did the work. She was a successful prosecutor. You don't move up in the ranks of a field like that without being good at what you do. You certainly don't get elected attorney general or chief DA or anything like
Senator.
that unless you are good at what you do. And you make enemies on the way, because of course you do. But like, her qualifications, there's no question. If she's qualified to be vice president, someone mentioned in the chat, she's absolutely qualified to be president. That's the next line. So there's no question about her
Absolutely.
qualifications. Going after that is bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I don't know why, but if a man was like that, if it was a man, it'd be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason,
and
maybe we had to go through all of this incredible bullshit timeline to make a giant leap forward, because honestly, the idea of a strong brown woman who did it herself and has put in the work and has fought the fight and has been tried to be held down over and over again, for her to be the one that takes down that motherfucker, I am here for it all the way.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think I know why America is ready now for Kamala Harris. I'll tell you why. We failed with Hillary Clinton. It would have been great to have a female president, and we've already talked about, why that didn't happen. Then we got a good long look at everything we have processed and tried to work through and have legislated around and fixed with our country come roaring back. Everything that's terrible about our past as a country, all the sexism, the bigotry, the racism, the violence, all of it, he embodies it. And for years, we were subjected daily, hourly, sometimes multiple times an hour with just whatever horrific, random, horrible bullshit. And we realized, we fought so hard, and with the fall of Roe, we fought so hard over these decades to scrape this progress forward. And this is what it looks like to go backwards. Fuck that. We will not make this mistake again. We will not move backwards. Forwards is better than goddamn that, And and we're talking about the orange crazy dementia bastard.
Yeah,
So
they're trying to
I feel like
impeach
that's
her.
why they're
Yeah, they're
embracing her
that's
now more,
the
because everybody's like, oh yeah, that is better to go forward than backward, where the bigotry and racism live.
no, they're already trying to impeach her.
Yep.
Oh, and I know why. I know why. Do you guys know why? I'm sorry. I'm very excited.
What happened
I
in
don't.
Tennessee?
It was something like, wasn't it the border or
Yeah.
something like that?
Mm.
Yeah, they're trying to blame her for the border. Andy Ogles is spearheading this, and y'all look into him. He's a shady motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he is.
He's lied about his credentials, his education. Some of the reporting, I think Channel 5 News has some good reporting on that. Yeah, trending all over the news. Thank you, Stay Gold. Stay with that. He's introducing articles of impeachment so that when you look up Andy Ogles and remove, like he should be removed from office because that's terrible, you're going to see him removing Kamala instead of his dirty ass laundry. That's why he's doing it. It's a dirty GOP trick. They do it all the fucking time. But yeah, get her removed, which doesn't.
You know what I hate about them using impeachment is that impeachment's for high crimes and misdemeanors. So, like, let's say Kamala totally jacked up the border. Like, she did totally awful, like, policy plans, and it's, like, let's just say that hypothetically. That's still not grounds for impeachment. Doing a shitty job is not grounds for impeachment. It has to be illegal what she does.
Yeah.
So if she, like, took bribes to, like, let people in, that's probably a high crime or misdemeanor. But, like, bad policy.
They gave us the answer to that argument right away because there was a bipartisan immigration bill that Trump told them not to pass. So anything they say about her and the wall, it's like the border, it's like there was a bipartisan law and you blocked it. So who do you think wrote that law? Who do you think arranged that? A lot of it was Biden making deals, but a lot of it was her making conversations and trying to get stuff done. So who's really to blame for it? Nothing happened. And they've got to fucking stop with this bullshit. More people are coming across the border than they ever have before. No, they're not. The numbers are down. And it's seasonal because that's when they can weather-wise make that traffic, and when there's a coup in one of those countries, of course people are going to flee. Or when violence breaks out of those countries, of course they're going to flee. Like, that's not because the president did anything or didn't do anything. But they lie about the numbers. They lie about what went down. And they certainly lie about blocking that bill from going through.
And who's coming through the border?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like,
they don't understand that most of the legal drugs that are coming through here are coming through
white coochies.
Yeah, and port of entries and stuff.
I said it. Yeah. Don't laugh at me, Vixen. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, I know. That's why.
That's what old girl was looking for the other time.
Oh my God, it's driving me crazy. I had to drive across the county, and there's not that many Trump signs around right now, magically, but I did see 3, and it's probably the least I've seen in a while. But one of them said, "Stop illegal voters."
Okay.
And on the other side, it said, only citizens can vote. You are correct.
No shit.
Yeah, we agree. Go tell the guys down in the villages that voted for Trump 7 times.
You know what they get this from?
Yeah.
Because I think there are some cities that allow anybody to vote in their county election, not like not state or federal.
The state's gonna do. Yep.
Because a lot of immigrants, illegal immigrants, they pay taxes. Like, they pay taxes. My neighbor, he just got his citizenship probably about almost a year ago. And like, his brother was here. His family's always coming and going from Mexico, but he's been like the anchor, like, here. And like, even though his family was here legally, on, tourist visas or resident visas, his brother was working with him for his construction company. He's a contractor. And so he had a work permit visa. Like, he's paying taxes. And then, like, one of his other brothers was here, not undocumented. He left a while ago, but like, he had a job with his brother, he was paying taxes too. Like,
And they're not just paying taxes, they're paying rent for wherever they live. They're buying food locally, they're buying clothes locally. They're spending their money here. Yes, they're sending a lot of it back over to their family, but they earn that money. It's the same as the rich people putting it in an offshore bank account. Like,
yeah,
what's your problem? And construction in Georgia,
Crazy.
God bless you. Like, I'm not doing that job, dude. It's freaking
my
hot. I had
husband,
cousins that were roofers in Texas. I'm like, you guys are insane. There's not enough money
my
in the world for
husband
that.
got laid off, so to get some income, he worked with our neighbor for a couple months till he found a new job. And he said those guys do the most back-breaking work. They were re-tiling, not tiling, what do you call it? Putting new shingles on a roof. And he's like,
Mhm.
this guy, he's not even young. He puts, do you know how heavy roof shingles are? They're
Them all
super
up.
heavy. He got like 3 of those things. He probably had like 150 pounds of shingles. And he climbs up this ladder at like it was nothing, and had that whole roof redone like in one day.
Oh yeah.
And like I've never known a lazy immigrant. And I know, like, I'm from New York City area. I know a lot of immigrants, and I've never known a lazy immigrant. I'm sorry. I don't
They
know,
didn't
like,
they didn't come here to be lazy, they came here for an opportunity, and they're willing to
Yeah.
fight for it. You didn't
yeah,
march up from Guatemala through the fucking jungle and in the heat and being attacked by gorillas and everything else, gorillas
God
with a
knows
U,
what.
and all of that crap to get up here and sit on your ass and eat bonbons. You came up here to bust your ass and have a better life.
And they pick a lot of our fruit and veg and all of that
Oh,
stuff, the
yeah.
migrants that come
That's
over. I mean,
backbreaking too.
yeah,
Farm
that
work.
is a hard work. I mean,
And that's one of the things that Project 2025 will take away is those work protections
mhm.
that allow them to will require their employers to give them adequate shade, adequate breaks, water, all those kinds of things.
Hmm.
Yep.
Can you
It's already bad
imagine?
enough that they don't pay them a living wage, but come on.
Yeah. Can you imagine how heartless you would have to be to make legislation against giving human beings water on a hot day
Dude,
while they're
wasn't it
doing work?
Texas that you're not allowed to if people are standing in line to vote, you can't give them food or water?
No,
Yeah.
that's
You're like,
Georgia.
Some it
Oh,
might be in some
it might
Texas
be both.
too. Yeah.
I think
Oh
Texas
yeah,
did
it
too.
could be both.
And one of the in Texas, I think it's around San Antonio, they made it illegal to feed the homeless. And so there's
Mm.
groups like nonprofit groups that they just get a ticket and
Mhm.
they just keep going. They're
Oh,
like,
that's
"Thanks, officer," and
right.
keep going. And
Yeah.
you're like, in what world is it okay to deny someone the right to take the thing that they acquired legally and give it to someone else? The government has no say in that, none.
Mhm.
Mm.
And it's food and it's water. And you know why people need food and water standing in line to go to a ballot box? Because you are gerrymandering your state to such bullshit. You're limiting the number of polling places and you're doing limited hours from them to be able to do it. There's no reason anyone should have to stand for hours in line to fucking vote. Let them vote online. Let them early vote. Let them vote by mail. There's no reason for that.
Rick said he was
But
going to get arrested in Georgia giving people food and water, but Mark Elias was fighting the water. I think he might have gotten it repealed. Don't quote. I'll have to look that up later, but he might be a little too late for that. I think they got it repealed because it was, I don't know on what grounds, but it was he was working on it, but that was a while ago. So by this point, it's if he was successful, it would have been repealed. Um, but yeah, the cruelty is the point, and like what, in Georgia, it's also illegal to send application voter registration applications, because what happened in 2020 is that a lot of Democratic groups mailed out. I got so many of them. I got so many of them, but they mailed out applications for mail-in ballots because it was COVID. And so they kept, well, the retards that, like, I swear, like, they freaked out and was like, why are they see, this mail-in ballots? And it's like, do you read? Come on. And so
They
then they, they, so that's why that later that year they made it illegal to do that, because they fear that I don't know what they
So
fear.
but consider who that leaves out from being able to vote. Someone who is homebound. Maybe they're a single mother or a stay-at-home mom with limited transportation, or they work long hours and the only time the place is open is hours that they're at work. Or maybe they're disabled and don't have access to transportation. In my county, if you're relying on public transportation, you're spending the whole day to go 5 miles. It's bullshit. And so they're denying people who are homebound for whatever reason from being able to vote. They're saying they're less than, that they don't deserve the same right as everyone else. And that's bullshit. It should be a national holiday. And I think it's Oregon or Washington State. They mail you your registration as soon as you fill out your whatever. And then they also mail you everybody their ballot. And it's like, I don't, I don't, I don't get what the problem is. Plenty of people choose not to vote, but creating obstacles to keep people who want to vote from voting makes no sense, unless you know that they're going to vote in a way that's not going to support you.
And I
And then
think
it becomes finding.
that's why it's so important. Like, I'm so glad that we're all like Kamala Harris is just so refreshing and like
Yes.
revive. Like, I didn't, I was first to get angry about the switch. I don't think it was actually like, it was more of like I felt like billionaires were making decisions.
Mhm.
It just felt so shady,
You did.
But it's so important that we elect her because, well, like, I have no doubt we'll start to fix some of this shit that's just wrong. It's just wrong. And we need to get these people back under their rocks. I just can't like stand to see this many people like suffer. Like, I just,
I can't either.
it's
It's break.
exhausting.
I'm like, I'm tired of having to heartbreak every single dang day for just,
I get big eyes
So
Give it does.
every day.
Give
on
it does.
her potential VP pick, I think she can't go with a woman or a minority or anything like that because of the divisiveness that some people have. I think she's going to have to go with old white wrinkly balls, but that's okay if they're qualified. I'm
Mm-mm.
fine with that.
You know who she got? She's got to go with Andy Bashir from Kentucky. Kentucky gets unfairly judged. Now, yes, they're still a red state, but they're not nearly as red as some of their counterparts like Tennessee and West Virginia and all of them. I went to University of Kentucky for my graduate degree, so I know a little bit about the culture. But anyway, he's a Democratic governor, and he's so popular there that they might swing the state. And yeah, who cares? They're only like 4 or 5 electoral votes, but that's not the point. I think it could be really healing for the country if like states start swinging. And he's really qualified. He's got a great personality. And Ratchet's mom made a really good point about him. He's a good old country boy, and it'll make the rural folks feel a lot better. And I was like, I don't know if y'all were there when his mom was on in
I
the
was.
God, I love her.
She's great.
I love Ratchet's mom. But
I love her.
so that's my pick.
The other great thing about him is he said some stuff about JD Vance already. He said that A, you don't get to call yourself a hillbilly. You did not grow up in Appalachia. And
Right.
B, he flat out called him out, like, you are demonizing the people of my state and we're not okay with it. You do not speak for us. So he makes a really great counterpoint to JD Vance in particular.
He does. He really does. He's good at debate too. And he was reelected. That's the thing. This isn't his first term. He was reelected as governor. He's that popular in a red state. That's deeply, it's deep red, but not deep red. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And
My
that's
only concern about that, and it's the same concern I have about Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, is that means that that state loses a really great and popular governor, but
that's true.
hopefully somebody is there to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
that's
know how do they replace a governor's special election?
I think the lieutenant governor takes place until the end, might
Yeah. I
take
don't
until
know.
the end of the term. It might depend on where it falls, and it may depend on
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah,
In the
I don't know
States
who the
too.
lieutenant governor is.
Because that's like Jamie Raskin, who I freaking adore, Jasmine Crockett, I
oh
freaking
my god,
adore. Like,
right?
love these people, but we need them in the house because we need that they have this unique ability to speak and to, like, in these watching the congressional meetings, I can't think what they're called right now.
Mhm.
They just hearings, they just tear them apart with logic, and it is just chef's kiss, beautiful. And so, unfortunately, we need them there to keep doing that. But they would be
Mark
great.
Kelly, we need. He just got elected to Arizona's Senate seat. We need him there. We cannot have another Kelly. What's her name? Why do I think Kelly?
Loeffler?
No. In
No.
Arizona.
What's Arizona?
Oh, Mark Kelly?
Oh, no. Who you're talking about?
No.
No,
What's
it's
the
when he
face?
ran again.
Ran for governor in Arizona.
Crazy clothes?
Carrie
Did
Lake.
she-
Carrie Lake, yeah. We cannot risk Carrie Lake
How
getting
could we not remember that person?
Replace the
I'm
race.
sorry, I had the gender wrong. I was like, what dude has the name
Yeah.
Kelly?
Cinema. That's where I was going because I was like, oh, the one that did
Oh, no.
I was like, replace the race.
Harry.
No, we need him in his Senate seat because he just got it, so we can hold on to it for a while. And we don't have to worry about it. We already have one seat to worry about. We don't need a second.
I just want to say real quick, Sheila wrote hashtag shillbilly for JD Vance, I'm assuming.
I love
I
that.
love that.
Shillbilly.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Yes, everybody use that for and remember, glove is glove.
Glove is glove.
And what,
Oh my God, Vixen!
anyway,
When I saw that as your
glove
tagline, I
got to
giggled.
do with it. You like it?
I giggled way too hard when I saw that as your tagline.
I should have
Someone else
I
mentioned
should have made glove with tagline.
So,
there you go. Hey, we can make hamburger
Ted
helper
Cruz
gloves
out in Texas.
and have like JD's face on it or something.
Ooh.
Somebody just mentioned William mentioned Roy Cooper from North Carolina because he's term limited already and can't run again, and he does have the qualifications and is would be an interesting pick, a good pick as well. I gotta say, I mean, I love Josh Shapiro, and he just got in this last budget female hygiene products in schools for free.
Oh, did he really?
Like, bless him. And we've got a really divided, very messed up Moms for Liberty kind of Senate going on, and so losing him and risking them getting more power is kind of terrifying. I don't want to share him with the rest of the country. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. I studied Pennsylvania a lot when it comes to book bans and stuff, and I do random
Because we're in the
research
top
and-
4, yeah.
Yeah, so I know I know a lot of random Moms for Liberty stuff about random counties too. I'm a nerd,
Lancaster
but
County
anyway.
They're down here in good old Texas too.
But Bucks County,
it's Florida, Texas, and then there's a state between, but it was Pennsylvania, and now Pennsylvania's like 4th. But it's Bucks County and Lancaster are losing
Bucks County's
their
fighting back though. Bucks County fought back in their school.
What's awesome is who's fighting back in Bucks County are the students. They did a student-led protest, and these young people, give me the vapors. They give me the hope, man. Just absolutely beautiful.
Opium.
There was one girl who spoke, and she spoke at some of course, me and intellectual freedom. I was attending some webinar, and she talked, and I was like, when can we elect her? Like, when is she old enough to run for office?
Yeah, right.
She was amazing.
No, I'm ready. I think we're ready. I think
she's the right person.
the
vibe, the right woman.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say, hey, the vibe is awesome. I mean, let's go.
Sadly, vibes matter. They shouldn't, but it does. And we gotta.
She's got a lot of things going for her. She's younger. She's very well qualified. She's not. The problem with Hillary was her connection to Bill and all of that stuff. She could never remove that taint. I'm not saying it was a taint, but people felt like it was. Yes, I know the double meaning of that word. And so we lost Vixen. That was always going to be a problem. I broke Vixen. But Kamala doesn't have that. She has stood on her own, made her own career. No man put her in her position of power. It wasn't her husband that gave her name. She did the work. And so that works for her. She's an incredible speaker, but she speaks where other people can, how some of them do the legalese and try to act like they're so smart and smarmy. She doesn't do that. She speaks like a real person.
Not condescending.
So inspiring. Yeah.
Whereas Hillary can be very condescending and not intentionally. She just has the personality of an unfrosted Pop-Tart.
You know what it is? Kamala Harris feels very accessible. Like she feels very
Yes.
open, very warm,
Yeah.
engaging. Someone that, you know, you could talk to for 5 minutes and feel like you've known for 5 years.
You know, and I think when in the 2020 election, like when she took off her heels and threw on her Chucks and was like, "Oh, that's better." Like that was so relatable.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
mean, right then I was like, I like this lady, you know, like she's not yes, she wears the woman suit, whatever, the pantsuit, but she's always stylish, but it's not overly sexualized. It's very professional. She wears the
Mhm.
heels when she has to, but when she's
Absolutely.
ready to
Yeah.
get down to business, she's just a real person in her Chucks, and I love it.
I think
Yeah.
that's the difference, you know? She doesn't leave the personal part of herself at home when she's doing her job, you know? She lets that shine through because it's a strength. You know, her personality is a strength. Um, and I think that politicians often, and someone needs to help Ron DeSantis figure it the fuck out, but they're told to maybe act a certain way or don't act a certain way in public around people. And it comes off maybe as feeling a little cold, a little blank, impersonal, you know, like there's walls there, like you can't really talk to them or you're not really getting access to the person. You know what I mean? They don't seem open. But she really does. And I think it's because she really does listen. And she's interested in getting the facts and what will work and what will,
Yeah.
you know, win the case for her, what will be effective legislation to fix a problem for people to alleviate suffering. That's who she is as a person.
It's hard to
And her
find anybody with, oh, I was just gonna quickly say, like, it's hard to find anybody, male or female, that has the pragmatic knowledge, but also has the personality that like makes it easy to listen to and it doesn't feel like you're being fed information. It's very hard to find that.
It
I
is.
definitely don't have that gift, but
absolutely.
you know, when
No,
you
I love her
you
interactions
have
with
it.
her husband. It reminds me so much of Jill and Joe in that they clearly adore each other and are supportive of each other. And it's just so wholesome and beautiful. I love it.
Love
It's just
it.
so real. And I'm
I
very
love her
excited to have
kids too, or her stepkids. I'm pretty sure she considers them her kids. Um, and they're beautiful, like a beautiful blended family.
Mm-hmm.
I envy that because I really wanted to have that for my daughter, but obviously, you know, that couldn't be. But like, it's such a beautiful family where, like, you know, it's just,
Yeah,
I love it.
I do too.
Doggy, you kind of look like my Daisy.
Oh, I know, you're cute. So cute.
Cynthia
You
makes a good
fortunate
point that Hillary was part of that generation that to be a woman, a successful woman, you had to be a bitch.
Yeah.
Like there was just no way
Yeah, that's
around it.
fair.
And we've gotten
That's fair.
better about that. It's not perfect where you can be an assertive woman without being considered always a bitch. You're still called a bitch a lot, but you know.
Yeah, and that's something that women take notes, dudes. Women have to walk that line of being assertive
Mm-hmm.
but not like being a bitch, you know, being feminine but not too feminine, or being, you know, like, you know, shoulder pads but not too shoulder pads, you know,
Yeah.
um, like it's just it's a hard line to walk, and Hillary just and it's sad that we have to still walk that, and she shouldn't have to walk that, but that's, you know, that's the reality, and maybe through Kamala we can like change that and like
The
and you know get
representation this is
moving.
going to provide to young girls and to minorities that you really can be the president, the vice president. You can do all the things. You just, you know, if you're willing to and you're interested in it, you can do that. And that matters. And her being the daughter of immigrants is so powerful for young people to see and for people who that's their experience. I mean, Derek will tell you that he was told what was that 8th grade that you had to be white to be president. I mean, that was in the 80s?
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. And I'm like, no, that's not true at all.
Yeah.
No,
I
you
mean,
just have to
Mm-hmm.
be
historically
35
the
and
case,
natural
yes, but
born.
it's not the law. So I think it could really push us forward boldly. I think people are really tired of the crap. The economy's gotten better, which, I mean, the common man, that doesn't really help, but it does help consumer confidence, and inflation's going down and so forth. The policies are popular, and they've really handed us quite a bit of a gift with Project 2025, because it is so freaking egregious. Like, at this point, they could put a gilded turd up for president and we'd be like, gilded turd, because Project 2025 is just so not acceptable. But luckily, the candidate we have is strong and capable and proven and excellent. So,
Ask a lady. Ooh, it's a lady.
That's the lady.
someone mentioned the coconut thing. So I'm hearing conflicting stories on the coconut thing. I'm hearing that she made a comment, and it's like a common phrase, sort of like we say, "Oh, bless your heart," or
Her mom used to
born
say it.
yesterday. And she said something about, "Did you just fall from the coconut tree?" And people were like, "Oh, we should really embrace the coconut thing." And then other people were like, "Be careful, because that's also in the South, that's a racist term. It means dark on the outside and white on the
Oh
inside."
no, it's a saying her mom
Mhm.
had, and it's like, would you fall from a coconut tree? And it's basically living in the context of yourself from where you come from to where you're
Exactly.
going to be. So that
Exactly.
I
And
didn't
we
know
know
that's a
that.
racist thing in the South though.
Yeah, so I think that the people that do hear that are familiar, and that's what I was worried about. Like, the first time I heard the coconut thing, I was like, oh god damn it, they're already starting with the racism thing. And if you aren't familiar, it's you may be brown on the outside but white on the inside, like a coconut. That's
Oh,
why it's a terrible
watching it
thing.
stick
Allison
in
just
my head in
Yeah.
the
just picked her
skull.
elephant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, hi from Texas, grew up with, shitty racism around me in some places.
Well, I've
me.
heard, even in diverse New York, I heard different um terms for different for especially
Colors.
for Asian. There was a lot of everybody, but particularly Asians. They had like those types of foods, like where your Twinkies were a thing, like yellow on the outside, white on the inside, like
I mean,
fucking
sure,
stupid.
you can do that but I mean, what
But honestly, we could really go with the coconut thing, because think about a coconut. Um, it's an edible fruit. The inside is completely usable. Coconut water is incredibly hydrating and nutritious. I mean, people have lived on deserted islands on coconuts for ages. So call me, make your racist comment all you want if that's what you're trying to say, but coconuts are fucking rad. It's actually my
And
favorite
they
flavor.
and
I'm
they
not
when they
saying that it
fall,
has.
they're still okay.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
got a
they're
tough
tough as
skin.
shit. They're tough skin. They're nourishing. So,
well,
and it's
I
one of those
guess
where we're
we
gonna have to do
can,
that thing with, like, tell me why that's funny. Please explain to me why that's funny. Please,
yeah, like if
and make
somebody's
them
saying
have
it
to
in a negative
listen.
connotation, sure, yeah. But maybe it might just be one of those things where we see if she embraces it or if she kind of ignores it. Maybe we just follow her lead, and I think that might be the best
That's probably the
as far as
best.
the coconut thing.
Well, she
And just
tells the story a
real,
lot, so I
yeah,
think it'll become a thing.
yeah. But also along those lines, because this is, I don't know, a part of being in the pro democracy coalition and being behind our candidate is being behind our candidate. All right. No one deserves to be disrespected for something they have no control over. Their sexual orientation, their skin color, things like that, what their name is, anything like that. And people who use those things to make someone feel shitty are just need therapy themselves. But that, all of that aside to say, the right uses names that are not ethnically white sounding. They say them wrong on purpose to show disrespect or disdain for the person they're talking to, often to their face. It's shitty, it's racist, it sucks, don't do it. Her name is Kamala. Practice it a couple times if it feels weird to say, but it's important. Show her respect, put respect on her name, say her name correctly. The right says Fani Willis's name wrong all the time to be disrespectful. It's not hard to say Fani. They say Fanny because they want to be shitty. because, that's their brand. Cruelty is the point, right? Right, chat? Yeah. So it just, we wouldn't say Joe Biden, we'd say Joe Biden, just like we should say Kamala Harris. Her name is Kamala Harris, not Kamala
or Dr. Jill Biden. She's not real
Dr. Jill
I
doctor.
Biden.
No
know, I'm like,
shit.
that's so disrespectful. You
Worked
worked
hard
for
to
that
get that
shit.
doctorate.
There are different kinds of doctorates.
I'm like, I don't want to get me started
I'm
on
glad
that.
you
I'm like,
mentioned that. That's such a great point because we talk about this with LGBTQ rights. Like when someone tells you their pronouns or their preferred name, you freaking call them that.
Yes.
Like if
Same thing.
I will never tell you what my middle name is, but if you call me by that, I will absolutely slap the crap out of you. I told you what to call me by. And like
Respect.
I get called Lee all the time because of the way my name's spelled. I get it. It's a weird spelling, but once I correct you, get it right after that. Like it's just respect, you know? And they've been doing it for years now, intentionally mispronouncing both of those names. And
Yeah.
it's no accident that they're both women of color, that they're doing that too.
That's why they're doing it.
What I love about our first female president potentially being a woman of color is that women of color have been held down to the lowest level for so freaking long. They were the last to get the vote. They've the brunt of so much for so long. To make that kind of step is amazing.
Oh, I got a good question from Kim. If you guys are good for questions.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She says, ask a lady. A genie will grant one policy nationwide. What do you pick? You guys want to go around? Like one policy automatically, boom, enacted into law overnight.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first.
My gut was to immediately say ratify the ERA, but we could do so much better than that.
I mean, I want to automatically want my
but
right, my reproductive right, or my
Yeah.
my women's health care back. It's immediately.
Healthcare. I think reproductive rights is like kind of comes with healthcare, but
Yeah, women's
universal
health.
healthcare and like well-funded universal healthcare.
Mhm.
Yeah, just making sure people aren't bleeding out in parking lots and shit.
Yeah.
I would say
thank you, Eileen.
universal basic housing or universal basic income.
Yeah.
It's been shown over and over, different counties that have tried universal basic income, they'll give like certain amounts, like 500 or 1,000 or something, to the people that sign up for the program a month. And they use that money not for crazy shit like Republicans would have you believe. No, they use it to pay rent. They use it to pay bills or get lights turned back on or pay for school supplies for their kids or what have you.
And they spend it in their own community.
Oh, I was just like, it made me think of this one fun fact. Florida used to have a drug test to receive any kind of state help. And then they did a study to see if that's helping, because that's what governments do. They study, they do analyses, and they found out they pay more to drug test these people than they do saving people that get caught. And the ones that do get caught were like smoking marijuana, back then, this was a while ago. I think I was like in my 20s. That was a while ago. So, but like they think that these, they use the term welfare queen and they think that people are lazy and it's like, no, it's not, like somebody's always going to game the system.
Oh yeah, there's people out there that are going to play it.
You can't help that. You can't help it. It's somebody's going to commit fraud. It's like human beings, are corrupt by nature, I guess. But yeah, they spent way more drug testing welfare recipients than just, giving out the money.
To people who were actually using drugs.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting is they make this. All of us grew up during the height of they're all welfare queens and they're just popping out more and more babies so they can drain the system more. Like I know you guys all heard that throughout your lives, but the truth is reversing Roe guarantees that there are more women and children on assistance because they don't have a choice. Like you're taking away their ability to not live as their primary. And
Yeah, and some of these babies are born with very complicated medical issues that are going to deplete what savings they did have, and many of these births with severe medical, that would have maybe been aborted are dying within the first year of life. That's why the birth rate has skyrocketed, or death rate, infant death rate in Texas has skyrocketed by what, 23% since 2022.
A good friend of mine, she I think it was her first pregnancy ever. Um, she lives in Virginia, but she found out that the baby's heart wasn't forming right. So like I think it was like half of it was like barely there, and the other half. So they said to her, your options are carry it to term, and it may not survive the night, or if it does survive, it'll need heart transplant immediately. Like, and it's very hard to get infant hearts. Obviously, like that's not
They won't
and,
fit.
surprising.
and to be able to do
But
surgery in that small of an area as well.
and like but even if the baby survived childbirth, he would have to be rushed into surgery immediately to do what they could to buy him time for till they could get a heart, which is very unlikely that they would get one. And then what a lot of people don't realize is that like um organ donation and recipients has come a long, long way. But when like a lot of times you need a new organ after like 10, 15, 20 years. So that baby's quality of life is like greatly diminished, even if they survive into it's just and so and they had to make the decision fast because at the time in Virginia 20 weeks was like the latest, and she was at like 18 weeks. So they had to make that decision, and she chose to terminate it, unfortunately. But it's like, they act like these are like people that are killing bait, and she wanted that baby so badly. But she was like, what, like, it would be cruel. Like, even if the little guy lived, it would be cruel, and it's small chance that they would have a small chance of a decent quality of life where they would probably like they probably wouldn't make it a month at best. So like
To be that small and to suffer that much.
Yeah,
My entire
That mama having
my
to walk.
whole life is pain, and I'm a grown-ass adult, and I barely like handle my emotions about it sometimes. I mean, these are impossible choices, and each woman should be able to make that gut-wrenching choice the best she can. Okay, she shouldn't have to
Yeah, I
cry
hope you're
and bleed out in a parking
to
lot.
make that decision, but when the time comes, I hope you have the right to make it. If that's what's right for you.
right,
And
like
have
One that's not even
options,
there.
safe options. That's what we want for everyone.
yeah. Oh, and my friend, she if she had chosen to carry it to term, there was a really good chance she'd miscarry, have a late term miscarriage. So could you imagine that now? Like, let's say she was like, I'm going to put my faith in God and decided to try to keep it to term, and it died in Europe. These assholes want her to carry a dead baby inside her till she gets to be septic.
And have you ever heard a woman talk about what it's like to deliver
A dead baby,
your own
yeah.
dead child that you really wanted?
To know, like, and she was at almost 20 weeks, which 20 weeks is like what? Almost like
Halfway?
it's like, yeah, 5.5-ish. So like that's another 4 months. Like, let's say if it passed away like just a couple weeks later, that's 4 months of carrying a child that isn't alive. And I think, the only reason why the baby was still like all right was because her body was doing the work for him, like making up for the left ventricle or
Yeah, her
to
blood pressure was enough to sustain the baby's blood pressure in
sustain it.
utero.
But as
Yeah.
I don't remember all the medical stuff, but you know, and it's just like, so you're gonna force women to carry, like, and if it doesn't cause sepsis, you're gonna force her to carry her, like, does that not like freak people out, like who make these laws? Like, do you want your wife or daughter or granddaughter to carry their dead child that like die? Like it happened. It's not uncommon that these things happen, and it's so
I would like for them
cruel.
to consider, let's take for a moment and pretend like it's not a baby. Let's pretend it's your kidney. Your kidney has atrophied and died. And they tell you, well, you got to leave it in there. We can't take it out. It's part of you. It's a living thing.
It has a right to live just as much as you do.
But it's not alive and it's killing me. And you can take it out. And the sooner you take it out, the better chance my other kidney has of not also shutting down. Like when you take out that's a potential human. Yes, I'm going to say potential human. When you take out that part of it, it's like you're telling someone that they can't get medical care that a medical professional who went to school and got the expertise and has seen the studies and knows what the risks are, says is necessary. You're saying that they don't have a right to it because you've determined that what's more important is this thing, this, this organ or this not yet born child that may not survive to birth, may not survive labor, may not survive for more than a few months, may have a terrible few months that it does live. And you're making that decision for them with no medical knowledge. And you're not the one having to go through it. You're not the one suffering for it. There's no reason for that. It's cruel. And I don't understand why it's not cruel and unusual punishment. You're denying them medical care.
Well, I mean, it is cruel and unusual punishment. They just don't give a shit. I mean, they already.
That's how you know it's not
right
about,
they don't see us as
like
full human
religion or
No,
anything
it's
like
about
that.
control.
Because if you had any slight bit of common sense, like it just, how could you like be okay with that? And these politicians, their daughters, their granddaughters aren't going to suffer like that. They'll get them care out of the country or out of their state or wherever they think that they can, um, you know, it's just even in The Handmaid's Tale, they if you had a miscarriage, they wanted you to be able to, get over it and get back to being pregnant with a viable baby. So like they didn't view like I know I realize it's a fictional story. Don't get me wrong, but like,
Well, it's increasingly feeling like reality, isn't it? I
and you
guess
know what's funny? The writer and producers of the show and Margaret Atwood, they didn't plan it to work out like that. Like they just thought it would make a really great television series. So
timing.
Trump, yeah, when they started working on it, Trump hadn't really even been an official candidate, and it just kind of like the stars aligned, and oh boy, yeah, it's beginning to feel like
Reality
it.
is ruining dystopian fiction for me, and I freaking love dystopian fiction.
I love
But
dystopian
No.
fiction too. I love
not when it feels
apocalypses.
so real. Yeah, I don't want to be reading it and being like, "Oh, that was Tuesday," like that's not
Right?
that's not
That feels
fun.
familiar.
Like now I kind of just want to watch a movie where like a group of friends go out to lunch and they have a nice time. I don't know.
And
Yeah,
y'all
Something
get
like I
that's not
never
drunk,
going to
used
no
to
one
like
gets
traumatize me.
offended.
rom-coms, and now all of a sudden I find myself liking them. Like, because like
Oh
It's
my
I watched.
god.
light and fluffy, man, to escape
Oh,
reality.
we all need so much therapy after this
Oh,
Trump
if I
shit.
win the lottery, I'm gonna try to take a lot of the fucking fam to like, I don't know, an island with like pools and floaty devices and
Hey,
Down.
maybe
I'm
that's
down.
the maybe that's the genie wish we need to make is just like instantly cure everyone's mental health. Everyone's
Yes.
traumas addressed, their
Ah,
narcissistic personality problems cured, their
sure.
psychopathy gone.
Everyone has a healthy sense of, self-worth
centered,
and
and
respect for others and themselves. And
that's a good wish.
I mean, it's not realistic, but
Hey,
true.
it's a wish. That the question
It's
was
true.
just what's a
Wishes aren't
wish?
supposed to be realistic.
oh, it was for policies. It was for
Oh, for policies.
yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
then
Well,
mandatory
it's
mental health. I don't
yeah,
know.
Sure.
mandatory. You gotta be cool and chill. Like
You got to
that's
be
a
cool, right?
policy.
Free
It's called the
universal
Policy.
chill.
mental health
Everybody be
care.
chill.
Yeah.
We're going to pump THC into all the water supply, you know, a little Valium, a little Prozac, calm everybody the fuck down.
We do, yeah, Cynthia, on the money. We have national trauma. We really do. And I say that laughing, but like we really kind of do.
No, we
Like
absolutely do. From COVID alone. I mean, we lost a
COVID
million of our
alone,
neighbors.
the emotional turmoil of like just being around horrible people.
And I
Uh,
mean, every country has a bad history. They all have a colonialism and dictators and slavery. Like every culture has done this. But
yeah.
we're coming up on our 250th anniversary. We started with invading a foreign land, killing the inhabitants, and then I mean, you know, like it was bad. And then we start with slavery. And then, I mean, it's just bad, topping on bad, on bad, on bad, and bad, generation after generation of just, and we've never dealt with it. We've never, some of us individually have, but as a nation, we still haven't addressed the sins of our founding fathers 250 years ago, you know, much less the, you know, I don't know, Plymouth Rock or whoever was supposed to be first. Um, you know, what they did to the indigenous people and all of that kind of stuff. We've never addressed those traumas.
And just,
They
you
still
know,
don't
like
have memories.
I hate how they feel like addressing those issues is like, making, I remember, I went to a very progressive school, through my K-12. Obviously I didn't know that at the time, but like we talked about a lot of tough topics. And like from an early age, I was listening to Holocaust testimonies because my friends' grandparents were the speakers. And it would be insulting to say, you know what, could you tone that down, please? And of course, it wasn't, like when we were in like fourth or fifth grade, they didn't get, they were able to tell the brutality without showing the brutality and teaching it effectively. And, you know, I never felt like guilty or responsible because my family comes from Austria. Half of it comes from Austria and Germany. So I didn't feel responsible. I don't feel like, of course I feel sad, and that's okay. Like I don't understand why they get so weirded out that, oh, their kids are going to feel guilty. Yeah, they can feel guilty. That doesn't mean they have to like assume responsibility. Like,
Yeah, that's not the point of teaching history. It isn't for you to feel bad about what happened in the past. It's for you to recognize that people have historically made bad choices that hurt other people, and we want to not do that again. Like
yeah,
that's the
you
point.
don't assume responsibility. And no, I refuse to believe. I need video evidence to show that a teacher was teaching white students to feel bad about themselves. About, I refuse to believe that. I'm gonna need to see some
Demand
serious,
your sources. She wants to
yeah,
vet
like,
your sources right now. Unacceptable. Well, so I'm the complete opposite. My therapist says I have unreasonable guilt. I feel guilty for things I was not even alive for. And I know it's unreasonable. I still feel shitty about it, you know, but I don't say, no, you can't tell me a bad thing that happened to you because it'll make me feel bad. I just feel bad all the time.
yeah, I
It's
have
just who
too
I
many
am.
feelings. I feel like not necessarily guilt, but like I feel like the anguish. Like I can feel like the thought of it like can make like when I think of like I took the Ukraine invasion really, really hard because I hate bullies viscerally. I wasn't ever bullied really as a kid, but I hate bullies. And like the thought of these people just wanting to live their lives and do their thing, go to their jobs and raise their kids and families. And Putin was like robbing that. Like I could feel that anguish. So that's my problem. I have too many, like, I feel too
But
much. Like,
I don't think it's that you feel too much. I think empathy is a good thing. It's just, and we need more of it. Like a lot of people need a whole big old dose of some empathy going on. Some of
I
us
agree.
just have way too much of it, and so it feels overwhelming. We haven't learned how to. I haven't learned how to deal with it appropriately and healthfully, and I haven't learned how to block other people's trauma instead of putting it on my own shoulders.
Yeah,
And that's what I
Can't
can't
do.
do.
I can't figure that out. If
Yeah, but that's on
anybody knows
me.
how to do
That's
that,
nobody
help.
else's fault. Yeah, yeah. Please tell me how to bubble, how to shield, because I don't know how.
yeah,
But
I've been working on it for years, and like I'm definitely better at it, but I have to always be mindful. Like when I feel my heart aching, I have to like take like I'm at least better at taking a step back and saying, okay, you know, you do what you can, where you can with the resources that you have, and that's all you can do. Like so much is out of your control, and that's what I like. I want to fix everything, and I can't. I can't fix the Ukraine invasion, but I want to do something, and like it's just
It's a
so yeah.
fundamental
It's over
difference.
time you learn how to do it, but it's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think that's the fundamental
mindfulness.
difference between the liberals and the conservatives is conservatives are like, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. I had an ex tell me that once. And and for me, like for a liberal, it's I know that that happens in the world and that's horrible and I don't want it to happen to anyone else.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like the whole, marriage equality doesn't mean less marriage for you. It's not pie freak, and
Mhm.
it's the same thing. Like I can empathize that you're in a bad situation with while recognizing that it's not my fault and I can't do anything about it, but I can also want it to not happen to someone else and do what I can to prevent it from happening. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think that's what it means to be human. And this is why I'm been on Prozac for 20 plus years and don't leave my house. But
Preach. Not exactly Prozac, but uh, along those lines. Like
yeah.
it's hard. It really is.
Yeah,
Well,
but
what
I
do you
think
think, ladies? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I I think we have an excellent candidate with a great platform that we can all get behind, and that's a bonus because either way, we ain't letting this crap happen. We are not doing Trump again. We are
Well,
not.
yeah, I won't go down without a
Um,
fight.
Nope.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please like and subscribe if you like the show. Tell your
Yeah,
friends about us. Um, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
hopefully it was
It's
better
normally,
than I had to quit.
yep, and it's normally Thursdays at 8. And if you have an idea
Yeah.
for a topic you'd like us to discuss or you'd like to be a guest host or anything, hit us up on the Discord.
Yep. Okay. Well, have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, dudes.